It's the after talk.
After talk.
It is the after
What's
talk.
up? I'm meeting after Crossroads.
What's up?
After Crossroads.
It's the after talk, y'all.
Talk.
It's the after talk.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, hello, and how are you doing? Welcome to Upward and Onward Presents our meeting at the Crossroads Music Series, After Talk. Now, the After Talk is where we actually get a chance to go back a little bit and focus in on some of the interviews that we had earlier in the year with some of the artists. So sit back, relax, snap on the seatbelt, do whatever you got to do, grab some popcorn because we're about to get nitty gritty and get a little bit around the edges of things, if you know what I mean. Kwame Michael Remy was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. His passion for music and the arts began at the tender age of 3. He is known for his soulful voice, range, and infectious energy. His vocal style is a bit of the old and new, blending funk, jazz, pop, and soul into a sound of his own. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the second episode, part 1 though. Second episode, part 1. Last week we did a part 1 and part 2 of the first episode of the After Talk. Once again, is a spin off of our meeting at the Crossroads Music Series. So this is the best of area where we actually get to condense and go a little bit deeper into things with some of the artists that we were able to interview earlier in the year. This week we have Kwame Remy along with Burgundy later on in the week. But starting with Kwame, who's a Brooklyn boy. Big ups to Brooklyn, yo. You know what I'm saying? This is a Brooklyn boy from New York. And we're going to touch in on, I guess, his approach to the music industry, his start, where he started, when he started. We might even ask him what his favorite drink is or something like that, you know? Kind of piggyback off of the last episode and keep that going. I mean, because drinks are always relevant. I mean, like, my drink of choice this week is Woodford Reserve, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. And last week, what was it? Snoop's Cali Red from 19 Crimes. And before that was Bird Dog whiskey, flavored whiskey. I'm halfway through that joint right now, which is awful to say, but I am, and I'm having a great time. But whiskey is actually good for the vocals. It's good for the voice. Clears all that gunk and everything else going on in your throat out. I mean, obviously, if you drink within moderation, you have more than the needed amount. You will cause more phlegm than get rid of phlegm. Just to recap on what we were talking about last week with Cody and Mike, talked about where they were from, their voice type, what they do to maintain the type of voice that they have. And once again, we talked about how the pandemic has affected them and their thoughts through the pandemic. Of course, my favorite, their favorite drink. I think Cody's was, what was it, Shinerbach? And Mike was mixing some fruity concoction. A little sugar in his tank on that drink, I guess, so to speak. This week, we want to kind of touch on the artist experience through the music industry, what they've gone through, maybe some happenings that happened to them on their journey, on their way. So let's see what Kwame has to say. At least start us off for the after talk.
How did you start singing, or when was that you started singing? What was the thing that kind of boosted you to go in that direction?
I started singing at a young age, and maybe around 3 or 4, just around the house.
Darling.
And my mom and my dad are both from the island of Trinidad and Tobago, so my household was always filled with music. We had a record player back then. Back before iPods and all that good stuff, there was a record player. And my mom had her stack of records. My dad had his stack of records. And I had my little 45s where they'd buy me, which I couldn't touch their stuff, but I had my own collection of stuff. And I just remember playing records and singing along to them and pretending I was on stage. And that was the first inkling that I wanted to be a singer. And then, of course, church.
Yeah.
I was involved in the youth choir and the kids choir. And then that kind of cultivated the gift. And before you knew it, I was trying to pursue it.
Yeah, I hear that. When you sang, did you like sing to like a brush or a broom, or what was it that you were singing on?
Initially, it was a brush. And then my mom and my godmom bought me a microphone that you can tune the radio dial to.
Oh, okay.
The radio, and I was like, okay, I kind of like this. I'm on the radio now, okay. And that kind of started the whole thing.
Oh, did you hear your voice through that?
You can hear your voice through the radio. Yeah.
You were far way ahead of me. Yeah, I don't think I touched anything like that. Of course, my mom wasn't trying to hear me singing. She was like, "Shut up, you yelling."
Oh, I had those moments too. I had those moments of you're too loud. That's too high. It's too
Yeah.
much noise.
You're
Save it for church.
straining. That puts you on a path through the industry and whatnot for entertainment. Now let's talk about your voice a little bit, because to me, it's such a different type of voice than what I'm used to, the rugged sound that I'm used to growing up with this Baptist church down here in the red clay state of Georgia. It's such a wide voice. Like, I know many times you consider yourself a baritone second tenor or a baritone or whatnot. I hear inflections from your bass voice all the way up until, like, I would say an alto. Is that like a flip that you do with your voice? So can you explain that just a little bit?
I like to classify myself as a baritone, but I'm really a tenor. I'm comfortable singing lower, but I love to go up and do tricks and come back down.
Exactly.
As I developed, I learned that I have a wide range I can use depending on what I'm being asked to sing and what type of style I'm being asked to sing it.
What style leads you to sing higher versus lower?
I feel like if I'm doing pop, rock, or soul or gospel, I'm comfortable singing higher in my register. If I'm doing things that are more classically based, I prefer to sing in my lower register.
Gotcha.
Or my lower mid register.
I would probably say the same for my voice.
Why you always lying?
But I don't go that high. But I mean, when I do sing higher than what I'm usually comfortable singing, it usually is in some of those styles. What are some of your main influences? Because obviously there's an influence of Stevie Wonder with your voice that I've heard over the years, and that you still put out. Who would you say? Let's say name 5 of your top vocal inspirations.
Now I hate when you do this to me. 5, really?
Well, we can say 7, but I would say 5.
Top 5. Okay. Stevie Wonder, of course. Al Jarreau.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Donny Hathaway. Shaka Khan.
Okay.
And I would say Rochelle Farrell.
Wow.
I gotta say Michael Jackson too, so that's number 6.
That's number 6, okay.
And I remember listening to him, Donny Hathaway, Isaac Hayes growing up, believe it or not, Johnny Mathis.
Oh, okay.
So I was Nat King Cole. So I remember listening to all these different singers because each singer had their own style and their own way of phrasing things, and each of them had their different colors. And so I was trying to copy what they did and trying to figure out how to create that same sound.
Of course. Now, with doing all of that and with these singers that you brought up, what is probably your favorite style singing?
That's hard because I'm a fusion boy. I like to mix things.
So then what styles would you feel that are?
I love R&B, I love jazz, I love gospel, and I love blues. So a combination of all those is kind of what And
have you ever dilly-dallied or stayed in strictly in one of those styles?
I recorded years ago in the house music style, which is soulful house.
Okay.
House. In my early formative years of training when I was in college, I had released a couple of R&B singles as well. So I did a lot of R&B soul, and then it went into being house soul. It's funny, I had initially set out to be a gospel jazz recording artist.
Okay.
That was the goal. That was going to be my thing. And but my love of theater kept pulling me back.
Understood.
So I kept going back to musical theater. It's a fusion. Right now, my music is a fusion of everything.
And now musical theater is just so full of all different types of styles.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were coming up as kids, it was maybe 2 styles that you kind of went between with musical theater, but it has grown so much since then.
So the thing about me and Kwame, we've known each other for 20 plus years when we were kids. And I'll leave that at that. But we got a chance to do a lot of gigs together, a lot of shows together. We also were very blessed to be able to do some tours together, to be like housemates and roommates, like overseas, Germany, Holland, the UK. Oh, the list goes on throughout Europe or whatnot. There are a few adventures that we've had that are quite hilarious. And let's see what our conversation is to talk a little bit about some of those experiences that we had.
I could take the fond memory. Our journey to try to find a New Year's Eve kickoff.
Oh, man. Do you remember?
We got on the wrong train, right? We got on like the express, and we were supposed to get on the local.
Yep.
And the express passed all the way where we needed to be, right?
Did we end up in Dortmund?
I think that's where we were trying to go.
Where did we end up?
We ended up coming back to Crossroads.
Yeah. We didn't make it to where we were trying to go. We didn't make it.
Yeah, but you made it back to the hotel by New Year's Eve. And I made it to a strip club.
Twerk. Good, I want to see you.
I was like, I'm tired. I'm going home. I'm done.
That was like almost like a 5-hour process.
It was. Like, we left at like noon.
Yeah.
We
probably got back at about maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was touch and go for a second. We was scared that we were going to miss it because the guy was like, we had to get off on the next stop because that was the wrong train.
Right.
And I think we tried to wait for the next train to go in that same direction, but then we were like, okay, well, this is not happening. So we tried to come back. And then we
took a cab back
for a little while, right? Yeah.
We got cab back. Yep.
That is so funny. After that, we were able to do
the Soul show in London and Holland.
Solid Gold Soul was London, and then when it came to Holland, it was Saturday night at the movies.
Yep.
Cast of was it 6?
6 of us, and
then us with a full band. So I want to say that was probably about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 band members.
10 piece, yeah.
Yeah, so about a 10 piece with 6 performers. Oh, that was great. That was great. It's so underrated. We didn't let any time go by without taking advantage of something that was gonna lift our spirits.
No.
But I remember there was someone that you were very fond of that we saw on the show, and I remember going to see the show, and I think it was just me and you that saw the show because Harry was off to do his own thing. Harry was like, Waldo, where's Waldo? Where's Harry? And
we caught a lot of shows in the West End during that time.
Oh, we caught as many as we were interested in. I mean, because we were there for a nice minute. But I know there was somebody that was a performer that caught your eye. And you're like, they're looking at me, or they're looking at you. I said, no, they're not looking at me. I think they're looking at you. And then you're like, oh my God, and then I think we looked them up and saw that because this is when social media was like, it was still kind of fresh. It was still kind of new.
I think at the time it was MySpace.
MySpace, yeah.
The good old days, old days.
So only certain people had Facebook.
Ain't ourselves.
Yeah. And we were going to like internet cafes going on. I mean, it was such a strange time. But we spent our money trying to stay on, relevant and
stay connected, yeah.
Connected, so to speak. Thank you. But we ended up seeing that performer walking through the city of London. And I think at this time Harry was with us. Along with somebody else, I think, and I don't remember who that was.
I think it was Josephine.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
So and then Sharon when there was just me, you, Harry, and Josephine?
I think Sharon came as well. They were in another shop getting some
maybe
stuff.
We were going to visit them or meet up with them. I think it was me, you, and Kwame, and maybe Josephine that was standing there.
I mean,
me, you, Harry, you're Kwame. And then I think we were telling Harry the story. I almost want to say that the story was so fresh that we had just gotten through talking about it.
And that person appeared.
And it was like, oh my God, there they are. Harry was like, oh, he said, well, we should go introduce ourselves. And you were like, no, don't do that. I'm not, don't play. And I mean, you were very adamant on not being a part of that introduction. And I want to look at Harry because, me and Harry were like brothers then. So it would just be a look and we were like, you think what I'm thinking? Yeah, let's do this. And so I think we were about to just go approach. We got to the person and said, hey, it's so great to meet you. I saw you in the show the other night. You were so great. You were so amazing. Our friend Kwame. Now, folks, it was just that quick of a time. We're on a street on Soho that we said exactly what I just said. Hey, so nice to meet you. Wonderful performer. I got a chance to do your show the other night. I thought you were so great. My friend Kwame. Kwame was gone, y'all. I mean, Flash ain't got nothing on the speed that this guy took. And we did not see him leave. We did not see him dip out. I think, did we call you on a cell phone or text you or something? Or did we have cell phones then?
I was 5 blocks away.
Yeah, you were like, I'm 5 blocks away in this little store.
Yep.
I've never seen anybody so shy. But that was a highlight of
we still laugh about that to this day, but I was petrified. I was like, I gotta go. We're not doing this.
That was too funny, man. Memories, like the corners of my mind. Oh, that was kind of cheesy. Whatever. I can clown myself too. Well, it's so funny to hear somebody that has such a big personality, how they just get very shy and kind of ball up into a little ball when they get around their taster's choice or their eye candy, if you could say it that way. Kind of like extrovert, introvert, two-sided coin. That is funny. Yeah, we have so many other stories, but I mean, some of this stuff, we would be here forever if we try to tell you everything, or some of the stuff is not made for everyone's ears. The thing about Kwame is he started off a little bit earlier in his career doing stuff like recording and musicals and everything like that. His recording career, to my knowledge, started when he was doing some of the tours that he was on for musicals. He was able to touch on that earlier in his career. I wonder if he's able to bring us in and show us a little bit of what that journey down that road to get to that point, or to even get to this point, was like. Let's listen in.
Let's speak a little bit, because you spoke about recording. Let's speak a little bit about your recording, I guess, career or process or experience.
So this is a funny story. Some years ago, I was touring with Jesus Christ Superstar, and we had to sit down in Munich, Germany. And I had a friend who lived in Munich at the time, and she was like this major house recording artist. She was internationally known. But I'm known to rock the microphone. And a friend of mine who also had lived in Germany and had toured and did stuff in Germany had connected us because he knew my tour was going to be there sitting down for a couple of months. He was like, you guys need to meet each other, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So as you know, when you're on tour, you do your show and then you go out and you enjoy the nightlife, because we were creatures of the night. So we went out one night to this club called the Blub Club in Munich, Germany. And there was this live singer singing with a DJ. And I'm like, oh, this is really dope. Okay, what's up? This is hot. So we're on the dance floor, we're cutting the rug. And then someone goes, oh, the cast of Jesus Christ Superstar is here. And we're like, yay! And so she goes, you're Kwame, right? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I'm Sabrina. I'm so-and-so's friend. We've been meaning to meet up. I was like, oh, what's up? She goes, I'm about to take a break, but here, I want you to do me a favor. I says, okay, what? She goes, she hands me a microphone and walks away. She goes, you know what to do. And I'm like, what I'm supposed to do? And so the DJ's like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I just started riffing and oohing and eyeing on it. And next thing you know, a week or two later, that same producer reached out to me and let's work on some music.
Okay.
And so I went to the studio just for fun, not expect. It wasn't something I was looking to go do or I was trying to be signed. It just happened to be a circumstance of me going into the studio, writing a song, us vibing, and then a couple years later, it was out on the charts.
Wow. You have Yeah. So how many albums or songs have you released?
I released 3 singles, and I did 2 guest vocal spots and 2 other DJs projects over the last couple of years. Let me raise my glass to that. Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
Cheers.
Hey, cheers to you. I don't have any liquor, and I think it's so rude to cheers with anything less than, but I do have a glass, and so I will.
Just raise your glass then.
Raise my glass. I got some liquid in there. I won't even say what it is, but what have you learned, good or bad, or good and or bad, during the pandemic about yourself?
I have learned that my peace is priceless and that I can't allow anyone, family, friend, or foe, shake that.
Okay.
And if that sometimes means I can't pick up the phone, I can't pick up the phone. Because my peace of mind is priceless, especially in times like this where for months in hand we were sequestered to our apartments or our rooms for 2-3 months where you couldn't go anywhere. That's a lot. That's gonna have your anxiety at 20. And when you have folks bringing their own drama, issues, conflicts, problems,
opinions, judgment,
and you want to be there for everybody. And I'm a person, I want to be there for everybody as much as I can. And sometimes that's at a detriment to me. So during this entire pandemic, I've learned how to put my peace of mind ahead of everything else. And that's probably why I'm sitting here today talking to you in sound mind.
Yeah, creates a little bit of a...
Not the pad itself, painting walls with things.
Well, on behalf of Upward and Onward Productions, we'd like to thank you for hanging out for our meeting at the Crossroads, After Talk. Now, your attention and time is much appreciated, and we look forward to having you checking in for more later on. Remember, success is only an arm's length away. Stay safe, stay home if you can, and if not, keep practicing social distance with a healthy and cautious way of life. Upward and Onward, folks.
After talk. What's the haps? What's the scoop? What's going on? After talk. It's the after talk.